Hello, everybody. Hi. Welcome to today's topic. Since it's Heart Health Month, we're going to celebrate the heart. We just had a heart day, Valentine's Day. So, since we just had a celebration of the heart, why not heal the heart? Let's heal the heart today. We're going to talk about how to heal the heart and issues with women's health surrounding the heart today. And hoping to get some engagement from you guys. Hi, Facebook. Well, is Facebook here? Where's my Facebook people? Is Facebook here? Let's get Facebook online, y'all. Let's go live on Facebook. Well, I don't know what happened to my Facebookers. Not bookers, but bookers. Let's get them online. Let's do live with them. I don't know what happened with Streamyard. Maybe I was 1 minute overdue. So, getting adjusted. No technical difficulties, just adjusting here. Let's get our stream straight. It says waiting for video. Well, I'm thinking Facebook will probably come live soon, but we're going to start our health conversation right now. Okay. Well, welcome to Wellness Wednesdays Live. Let's pin our topic. We all over the place today, huh? Well, I am. It's been a heartfelt day. It's been a heart-filled day. We're going to talk about our topic, which is let's see, alignment and rhythm. There we go. Okay. Let's pin our topic. This is our topic today. It's a little chilly out here in California. It's breezy, but it is fall winter. So thank you for joining me. Hi. Hello, everybody. Hi. I guess Facebook will be here in a few minutes. We're streaming live on Twitch as well as YouTube, and we're streaming on Instagram. And we're going to talk about heart to heart. We're going to talk about heart health because it is um, heart. It's the American Heart Association is recognizing this month as Heart Health Month. If you have seen my post, you will see a lot of universal all across Instagram. People are like honoring and celebrating. It's perfect timing because this is actually a Valentine's Day. So, Valentine's Day weekend just passed. So, Heart Health Month is perfect. So, how's your heart doing today? I'm going to ask you that. You can put in the chat how your heart health is today. Let's see, a scale of 1 to 5. 1 being superbly happy, and 5 being need a check in, and not too happy. Okay, so pop your comments in and let me know how your heart is feeling right now. I'm going to introduce myself while you do that. And while we get all settled and set up on all of our platforms to be engaged in conversation about this topic, um, my name is Tamara Wells, and at Wells of Wellness, Herbs, Health, and Healing, Nature's Oasis Skincare and Maintenance. And I serve and I help women, men, and children with their health and beauty of their skin, and do a deep dive into their system health through their gut for change in their beauty from a beauty perspective. So just keep in mind that health and beauty is inside out. So let's start from the inside. What we do on the inside reflects on the outside. Just keep that in mind. And I do this one cell at a time with the simple steps of teaching, and I like to keep it simple to several. So that's KISS. I like to keep it simple to several. Okay, so we're going to talk about today heart health, and with this topic, I'd love for you all to share what what you are experiencing with your heart and your rhythm, or anything to do with the heart, the blood flow, the circulation, how you're feeling, hot, cold. That could affect temperature as well, because the heart has a lot to do with circulatory. Okay, it is the circulatory system. It is the key to our emotions, and I call it the reservoir to our being, because it actually speaks who we are, what we do, why we do it, and it actually drives the seed to life. Okay, so the blood is life, and the heart is the source of that life. So, did you know that it was used over 150 times in the Bible? The word heart. Yeah. And without hearts, we would have absolutely no function, no functionality. Our blood, bones, and muscles, as well as our mind and our mobility points, which is our skeletal. All of that helps with the heart, because the heart feeds the blood, and the blood feeds the cells, and the cells feed the transmitters, and the transmitters tell all of the other systems what to do and how to do it. So that heart regulates everything. So when the rhythm is off, and hence the topic, in alignment and rhythm, when the rhythm of the heart is off, then everything is pretty much off. Even when it comes to emotional, no matter whether it's physical, emotional, or mental, when the rhythm is off, then everything is off. So let's just concentrate that on the heart today. Okay. I asked some questions in the post and things of what we were going to address today. And one of them was, what is the most heart linked, actually, one of the questions, my apologies on that, that's a major question. So, why heart issues are escalating in women's health today? What do you think? if you really think about it, women's health, women's health is a major topic nowadays because of the businesses that have increased. Did you know that over 50% of the business increase is due to women? And when there is an increase of something, there becomes a more prevalent issue or concern with that one thing. So as a result of women being in the business or in the marketplace and serving more from a business and entrepreneurial perspective, what that means is that we can be affected even more so. So we become more vulnerable. Like there was the numbers as far as men to women ratio for jobs and work, but now the male to woman ratio for businesses and independence is increasing. So that means that our health is increasing on the forefront for researchers to really develop some really sound and established things about how things are affecting us, because the standard used to be based on a man, but no longer. Did you know that 1 in 16 women age 20 for Black women, for it's a 6.5%, have a possible chance of coronary heart disease or coronary artery disease? Hispanics, 6%. White women, 6.1. The lowest are Asian women. Believe it or not, it's half that, 3%. So we need to really think about how we address our health and how we respond to societal demands, societal interests. When it comes to our health, we need to put ourselves first. This is why I represent self-care so much, and I stress it. And most us women, and I'm guilty of, most of us women, especially moms, they have a tendency to care for everyone around them more so than themselves. Okay, and in doing that, I'm not saying that that's not a generous heart, that's not a beautiful heart, that's not something that is a necessity or that is a part of a role. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that it requires a lot better balance. It needs more balance. I'm going to bring my Facebookers on here. It looks like they have, yay, they've now become present, it seems. Let's see. Not to interrupt our flow here, but just making sure all our peeps are here. I got runoffs going on. Something's getting real weird up here. Got a little runoff going on. So let's get our Facebookers here and present, and then we'll be continuing with those questions that we were answering, and we'll get to question 2. We were talking about how heart issues are escalating in women's health today, and I pointed out all of the bullets of how we women are affected and what that looks like. Let's see. Okay. I don't understand why Facebook has always got a problem. Trying to get on Facebook with Streamyard, it's like you got to do double things all the time. So just working a little bit of tech stuff background here to make sure everybody is hearing exactly what they need to be hearing. I may just need to reschedule that particular live. May just need to do that. Okay, moving on to question number 2. Question number 2 is, I'm gonna focus on that a little later. It's not looking like it's trying to really function or work in alignment with me here. So we're gonna leave that alone. We're gonna focus on what platforms we've got functional right now. We've got you all in Instagram. So my apologies for distraction or disruption. So moving on to question number 2. Question number 2 was how to take precautionary and proactive actions to help alleviate these symptoms or these things. Okay, one way, number one, is we need to get more rest. Okay, we need to care about ourselves enough to rest, care about ourselves enough to know when we need a break, care about ourselves enough to know how to eat and how to balance life um, with us included. We have a tendency to exclude ourselves, like I stated before, and stay away from a lot of things that are not really prominent and positive for our health. We, as women, we tend to snack more, and we get the adverse effects a lot quicker than a male does. Hold on 1 second. We gotta fix some water jams here. Okay, we got some water flows coming all over here. A little too close to my cords there. So I had to settle that. Um, so we have a tendency to eat a lot more snacks, eat a lot more sweets, drink a lot more wine. And that wine option may be the secret to actually being proactive and precautionary about more conscious about the things that we put in our bodies, like processed meats, okay, and any processed foods, really. And if you don't know what processed foods are, they are the foods that are not um, authentically helpful or resourceful to your body that will feed your cells. So anything that will feed your cells has to be alive. And this is basically a factor when it comes to being vegan or vegetarian in some way, shape, or form. You can extract juices, you can extract the green, you can drink powder drinks, you can take multivitamins, you can take supplements, you can do soup broth, bone broth, and things of that nature. You can cleanse or detoxify your body as well. Kind of bringing balance to all of those factors matter when it comes to heart disease and any types of symptoms, and being aware and precautionary about being proactive and taking the action, asserting yourselves to be healthier, to walk better in your own health so that you can be there for your family. We tend to do desserts a lot more. We tend to eat too much proteins, like fast foods, like we grab here and there, too much salts, and the wrong kinds of salts. Iodized salts, I use iodized salt in my garden on the ground for the soil to till it. I don't use it in my body. I use richer salts, and that is the salt that is more biblical, more substance, more returning to your body. It replenishes and it doesn't take away. Salts can be used as a moisturizing barrier, as a moisturizer, as a lock, as an extraction for moisture to surface. Um, my husband's in the background, so he has had his kick of heart stuff, so he can pull some energy out right now. So just forgive the background disturbance. The movement is just my husband in the garden. We're re-establishing the garden because it's gone through a lot of changes, and you do have seasonal change in a garden. So we're re-establishing it. I'll be taking some beautiful pictures more sooner than later, and I'll show you some before and after. Yeah, our garden sometimes looks ugly because it goes through changes, just like our bodies do. It goes through changes when we change what we need to consume. So if we consume ugly foods or things that look good aesthetically to us, then those are more or less ugly foods because they're too much. America is indulgent when it comes to what they call good foods, but they're really bad foods, like cheeses, all of these things, like certain cheese, processed foods, processed cheese. You need to learn the difference, the distinguished difference between certain cheeses that are better for you, better culture cheeses. Okay, so feta, Havarti, Gouda, um, blue cheese. Let's see, Gorgonzola. Those are good cheeses to me. I like the richer cheeses. I like to me. I call them cheese because that's what they are. The other stuff is created. Okay, so we do consumption of wines. We need to do less of that. The polyphenols in the wines, they're great, but we just need to moderate. Do things in moderation. And addressing question number 3, what you can start doing now that can add 10 years to your life. We're going to get back to that question. We're going to make that one a very final thing. But first things first, what we want to discuss here is basically talk about the differences in heart disease, okay? Heart diseases and different types of heart diseases and different types of heart issues that are really, really increasing in women and what they mean, um, what they can do. Okay, we're speaking about oxidative stress. Okay, that's the number one thing. It's a source of the number one thing that is linked to a lot of the heart disorders or diseases, as I call them, disorders and diseases, because they do disrupt, they take away from, or they distract, or they just readjust everything when it comes to your your being and your completeness and feeling fulfilled, just your balance, your chi, all of that. It has a lot to do with that. How you eat has a lot to do with that, and your heart is the organ of source for all of those changes. So speaking to oxidative stress, did you know that it was the number one tie to any diseases? All diseases, actually. Um, Everyone tends to say, "No, I'm not stressed out," and they're not really aware of what stress is or how their body is reacting to such stress. It's not about you knowing that you're stressed out and knowing when you frazzle out or when you spaz or whatever. It's not about the visual changes. It's about the hidden changes beneath the body. So what is your body's response? So go deeper. Do that deeper dive, care enough to know more about your internal body and how it responds to. Let's say, for example, you have a girlfriend that is really unnerved with you and you want to be forgiven. You say you don't care, but that girlfriend has been a friend of yours for over 20 plus years. And you're saying you're not concerned about it, but yet when you get a call from her, you're excited to hear from her, but you don't know whether or not to take the call or to ignore the call. That's an emotional distress point that has been struck. That stress point. You think what you think on the surface is not really so, because your body is actually saying something extremely different than what your mind wants to believe about this circumstance, which is you don't care. But deep down inside, your body is saying, yeah, I do care. So I'm going to react, and I'm going to react to this, and I'm going to I'm not, I don't know what I'm going to do. Take her call? Should I not take her call? So there is an emotional tie to that. That emotional tie is tied to stress. Okay. The result of that emotional tie is tied to stress. So you need to understand how stress affects you, how stress affects your body. And oxidative stress is the core key to all diseases in the world, universal. It can't not be linked. Okay. Which actually, let's see, there are also things that are linked to oxidative stress that can relieve oxidative stress. You have supplementals. You can talk to your nutritionist. You can address those problems, and we won't go into all of that. But there is a source to oxidative stress. It's just a matter of how your body is reacting or responding to a stimulus. A stimulus is you're reacting to something. That is what oxidative stress is. That is going deeper. Okay. Now, also, we want to talk about all of the other issues of diseases and heart diseases and how they're impacting us, what they are. Okay, so some of them are are impactful because what heart disease really does is more inflammatory than it is pain related, because it affects muscle, it affects tissue flow, all of the things that you're not really seeing functioning in your body. That's what's being impacted, and that change can alter your any other system in your body: the oxygen, which is your respiratory, your bone, which is your stability and your mobility, your reproductive, which is your emotional chamber, your heart. Right now, what we're talking about, which is your rhythm, which is your truth, which is the whole resource to all of the way everything else functions or malfunctions. So it affects the heart in so many impactful ways. So we're going to name one. Well, I'll name them all, and then we'll review them. The arrhythmia, that's a heart symptom, arrhythmia, and also cardiac arrest, heart attacks, uh, congenital heart disease, and heart failure. So we're going to start with heart failure. What heart failure is, first of all, there are four stages of heart failure. It's A through D. They're high risk to advanced risk, and this is the development of these risks. So what you need to keep in mind is that uh, it it's when the heart's muscles are incapable of pumping enough of the blood to meet the body's need for the blood's oxygen. Okay, so basically what that means is that your heart, when your heart can't keep up with your workload or what you're doing or your physical fitness or whatever activity you're involved in, that is what equals to heart failure. That's what heart failure is. So no, you can also pull a heart muscle. You know, it happened to a family member of mine. She pulled a heart muscle when she was just in the garden. And I think it could be a stretch. You know, that's just like your cartilage in your body. It's the cartilage in your heart, and it's attached to chambers in your heart. So, and it's connected to motion. So maybe there was a sudden or an excessive overwork of motion that caused or created that to occur in her. So we're going to continue on with heart disease. And heart disease kind of refers to mainly the types of heart conditions. So most of them are coronary disorders or coronary diseases, which is a coronary artery disease or coronary heart disease, okay, which affects the blood flow to the heart. This is what coronary artery does. Artery disease has a lot to do with the blood flow. And you hear me saying blood all the time because this is the heart is the heart equals the circulatory system. It requires blood flow, and your blood is your life. So keeping that in mind, that is the invisible, but it's the necessary for life to happen. This is why it affects all systems in the body, the cells, the transmitters, the signals, everything that goes throughout the body. So keeping in mind your circulatory system and blood flow is very important. Is very, very extremely important. Okay. So that being said, um, the with a decreased blood flow, it can also cause heart attack. So the increased blood flow is a heart attack. That means it's too fast. Okay. Or a low is just or a low or a slow. That's an artery related or linked. Okay. But it can, an artery linked disease can actually turn into a heart attack because of the blood flow can increase a little too suddenly, which exactly links to the muscles not getting enough flow, and that strain or the flow into the muscles of the elasticity of that muscle, the moisture or the water or the lifeblood cells. Okay, so I'm hoping that that makes a lot of sense for you all. Okay, so actually, where the rhythm of the heart is interrupted, this is for a heart attack. It's the rhythm of the heart. that is interrupted, and it can cause slowness or it can stop. And it's all because of blockage. And that's usually from cholesterol, fatty deposits that can actually come from plaque actually in the arteries. So when the blood flow comes through the arteries and they can't pass through because of fat deposits or fat from, like when you cut open a chicken, you see fat, little pockets of fat, and you actually pull back and sometimes a pocket of water may come out of there. That is exactly an example of the artery and the blockage in the blood flow. That's how important it is. See how that fat hid that little pocket of water, and it was a lot of fat, but things built up around it to protect that fat like so, and so you have to keep that in mind so that it can be very, 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 very mobile, okay, and fluid in movement. Blood likes to flow. That's why they say blood flow, and it's very important, okay, that it has the oxygen in there to flow. All right, and so interrupted blood flow to the heart can damage or destroy. It can destroy tissues, irreparable. There's irreparable damage. I have a neighbor who has a heart issue, has developed an enlarged heart, and we'll talk about that next. Um, we'll talk about that next. But it does cause irreversible damage in tissues and the muscle of the heart. Okay, heart attack symptoms. Heart attack symptoms, number one is pressure. When you see someone holding and pressure and then like squeezing, usually those are signs, because pressure, tightness, or squeezing or aching feeling or sensation in the chest, usually that person is grabbing in either the clavicle area or exactly where the heart is, and they're like saying they're squeezing and they're squeezing. They usually have that expression. Or it may even cause other symptoms of fatigue, which are universal to other diseases. Okay, so we need to keep aware of our bodies, so much so that we know that there can be a multi combination of these types of symptoms: shortness of breath, heartburn, cold sweat, lightheadedness, nausea, indigestion, even abdominal pain. Okay, so a combination of these things, that is what a doctor, then you should be calling 911, or calling your cardiologist or your doctor or physician to get in there to see them so that they can diagnose you, maybe do an EKG. To see what's going on with your heart rhythm. That's why we're talking about the alignment, in alignment and rhythm, because it's about your rhythm. Because when you have a heartbeat, there's a certain rhythm to it, and we all know it. So when that rhythm changes, it's saying something is going on in your body, and it's worthy of actual research. You need to actually dig deeper and think about what's going on in your body. What are you doing? Are you eating more fats? What are you doing to cause your heart rate? Have you gained extra weight? And what can you do to better your health regimen? And I'm not saying go into a strict diet or do excessive physical fitness. I'm saying do what moderates to your physical body, but stay in tune with that. You can do it baby steps at a time. You can just start by doing something for a period of a month, because it takes time for you to see the reactions or the response to your body, so that you know, and your body gives that feedback to you, and that way you know how to proceed further or improve better. Okay, so we're going to talk about the next thing we're going to talk about is congenital heart disease or congenital artery disease. It's a progressive type of result of for plaque buildup. Okay, this really talks about the plaque and the arteries inside the arteries. So plaque buildup is like inside the internal wall and the cavity of your heart chamber, or not your chamber but your artery. So when there's buildup there and there's fat there, there's no way that blood can flow smoothly. It may flow smooth over the fat and all buildup, but it's going to be restricted. It's going to be constricted. So you have to think about that. So what my husband does, I'm gonna tell y'all a secret. What my husband does, this week you see might be walking around and back because he's in the garden. He takes a pepper He doesn't think I can handle it. He doesn't believe me even when I say I took one, because I'll take a baby one. I'll take a little one because they're hot. We have little pepper trees, and I prune them back and every year. And what he does in the morning is he eats a little pepper to get his heart running and his blood flowing, and it's to keep him warm, and it's all for purposes of circulation. All of those things factor into the circulation, and it's a circulatory system. Hi, thank you for joining. We're talking about, I pinned the topic, we're talking about to heart, and we're talking about in alignment and rhythm. So we're talking about a lot of the diseases and heart diseases and how they affect women, and we've discussed so many different things. So thanks for joining. We're actually going to give away a prize afterwards. And so thanks for joining. Oh, hi, City Farm Girls Life. I love your t-shirts, honey. Love your t-shirts. I'm a farm girl too. So thank you for joining our chat today. So moving forward, we're going to talk about clogged first let's go deeper into that artery and heart disease. Many causes of heart and artery diseases. Did you know that they can result in strokes? Strokes, okay? And with women, strokes are very, very prominent, very more popular. Even the TIAs, those smaller strokes that don't show signs and don't really show the traumatic change of a severe stroke. But the point is that we are higher risk because of the demand, and businesses, we're womenpreneurs, we're solopreneurs, we're businesswomen. We've multiplied business by 50. Okay. And 50% of that 50% represents women now. So that means researchers have to adjust the way they research health. So coronary disease and coronary heart, that's why we're talking about heart health today. That is going to matter a lot, because we don't want our ladies dropping like flies that are owning businesses. I mean, we're changing the world. Who has time for a heart attack, right? Okay. Who has time not to eat healthy so you don't develop that heart attack, so you don't get that cardiac arrest, so you don't get coronary artery or heart disease, so you don't result in possible having a stroke and not understanding why? Because of internal oxidative stress that you cannot control. When all it takes is supplement and just standing back and just breathing and just doing for self. I represent self-care. I love self-care. Self-care is not selfish, ladies. So as a womanpreneur, care for yourself. Start by growing something green. Your favorite. It could be a tomato. It don't have to be green. Tomatoes aren't green, you know. Okay, eggplant is not green. Cucumber is not green. But you can start by growing something green. It will change your heart. Okay, focus on your heart, because the heart is the source of all. It's the source of your emotions. It's the source of the flow. It's the source of life. It holds the source of life, which is the blood. And that is the major thing here. Circulatory system is key. So arteries and progressive heart disease, where plaque buildup happens, heart arteries that supply that blood flow to the heart, they can be obstructed, and a lot of things they call stroke. Well, with heart disease, when the arteries of the heart, and to my Facebookers as well, when the arteries of the heart cannot, oh, there are things in my mouth, cannot deliver enough oxygen, rich blood cells or blood flow to the heart, it builds up this like waxy interior into the wall, and it's like a coating. What plaque is it's built up. It can be peeled. It's kind of like similar to the plaque on your teeth when you scrape your teeth, and you get a nice little smooth teeth, not just from the sugar of the toothpaste, but after a charcoal brush or something, or if you scrape your teeth, you get all that plaque built up. Plaque in the heart artery is similar to that, but it's just built up of all fat, just fat. Okay, and fat comes from everything processed, or just too much excessive fatty foods. Okay, so increase your omega-3s, increase your omega-3s, your omega fatty acids in the fish, and I mean, Girl, go out there and get some swordfish. Get some other than salmon. There's rockfish. There is sable fish. So experiment, orange roughy. Experiment with things that will help your heart. Breathing exercises help your heart. If your heart rhythm has changed, then your life can be changed. Okay, your heart matters here. Okay, so we're also talking about the waxy substance, and that causes clogged arteries, that causes buildup and clogged heart. So we're talking about the clogged arteries that we're getting into. Clogged arteries, that is called, that's called, it's hard to say sometimes. I get tongue tied. Atherosclerosis. Atherosclerosis, okay? And it's basically blocked, sclerosis, like sclerosis, it's like a buildup of a blocked artery. That's basically what it's addressing is. That's what it means, a blocked artery. And this is basically when the passageway of the heart in the arteries become more narrow so that the blood flow over a period of time. It does take some time to develop that. Sometimes we develop it as children. We eat our fats and have these little treats, and then as we get older, we always remember, oh, this is a nostalgia. This particular sweet food, it brings me back to when my grandmama used to bake, that kind of thing, like the cobbler, excessive. But sometimes we can become indulgent in things and unaware of how unhealthy it can become. Keep in mind, moderation is very much so key. Very much so key. That's like the key to everything in life. You have to have moderation. You can't do things too much. You can't do things too little, because that's not going to be productive to you. It's not going to be productive to society. It's not going to help you create your light. It's not going to help you share your light. It's not going to balance. Okay. So keep everything balanced in moderation. So when you know you're being too overly consumptive, then stop, slow down, take a breather, give yourself a break. So that you don't get clogged arteries. Okay. This was why our former first lady, Michelle Obama, created the children's garden, and she had children in the garden. She was addressing diabetes. She was addressing heart disease at an early age. Those children they couldn't have been 10, 11, if that. The youngest, I'm sure she had younger. I don't recall exactly age group, but they were a higher age group up to her daughters. So this is why it's very urgent. Okay. The other symptom, which is another type of symptom for heart, is arrhythmia. This one it kind of flows off my tongue. The other one didn't as much. The arrhythmia is more atrial chambers. So if I can begin to explain that, I would say we all know that the heart has 4 chambers. Okay. Now, with those 4 chambers, when the heart's chambers become imbalanced, let's split them up. Okay. Let's say the 2 chambers here, let's say one of these chambers becomes imbalanced. Okay. Then what happens is it causes a reaction in that second chamber to take the excess over, which is in the blood flow. Okay. And it affects the muscle of the heart itself. Okay. And the other 2 chambers, it overflows into that one, and it affects the muscle, because if that one's overflowed, this is connected to the other 4th chamber, then that one's going to overflow. So when they all become overflow, it forces blood into each other. This one becomes overflow, it flows it into the second one, and this one becomes overflow, it flows it into that second one, and it's only 4 of them. So where's the rest of the excess blood going to go? It's going to go into the body, and that means coagulation. That means that the heart gets surrounded with coagulative blood. It could mean that the heart has, like blood on the brain. If blood is on the brain, they have to go in and get to have brain surgery to remove the blood and be very gentle. That can actually cause a heart attack or an arrest, just the removal. So this is the reason why a lot of people pass away on the table. Open heart surgeries occur. Okay, so we need to keep in mind that these things are very, very important to our breathing. It's just like breathing. So uh, it will contract and it forces blood on the outside of the heart, which is it ends up flowing into, heart is, the blood is going to flow where it goes into the body. So it flows into the body and it results in a quicker heart rate or a heartbeat per beat for each chamber. And this note, physical restraints and constraints. Okay, so that means you have to pay attention to the physical restraints and constraints, because that excessive difference can mean in exercising, it can mean over exercising, how it can impact your heart and its rhythm. Okay, now we're going to go into herbs and we're going to bring it back on home. Okay, we're going to bring it back home. So, what do you think the number one? I had a question earlier that I asked everybody, and that it was a quiz question. Where do you think the most heart-linked fruit resides in the world? What is the most heart-linked fruit? That's what my question is. What is the most heart-linked fruit? You tell me that, and you get a prize from the organic store. Okay, so going back in, our first herb is a number one herb. This is called hawthorn berries. Did you know that Hawthorne, California was named after hawthorn berries? Because that's where a lot of them are. That's cool. They're like little cranberry shapes, berries, and they look like little cranberries, and their color is like similar to just a little richer, and they have a tart flavor. But they're number one treatment for angina, and it which actually strengthens the muscle of the heart and the cardiovascular system. And when you think cardiovascular, you have to think circulatory, because when you're working in cardio, you're getting winded, and your blood is constantly flowing, and you're getting warmer and warmer. So that's the circulatory. Did you know that it minimizes heart attacks, chest pains, spasms, and it lowers the cholesterol? Okay, that's the number one. That's the number one. Garlic. When you chew a bulb of garlic, it burns. But what it does, the reason why it burns is because it's getting into your blood and it's actually affecting cells and it's remolecularizing things. It's actually reconstructing. It has a very strong and powerful antioxidant in it. And it affects the proteins of the external of the cell. So it can restructure it into strengthening the cell. So garlic burns because it affects the circulatory system. Again, keyword circulatory people, circulatory ladies. Okay, it not only supports health and blood pressure, but it supports the lipids and cholesterol levels. Okay, did you know that? Which directly links to heart disease, basically. Our third favorite is, and this is one of mine, I put it in almost everything. And most people say they love this, they love spicy capsicum, cayenne pepper. Okay, this strengthens and soothes the blood flow. It smooths it all out. It's just like silk in the blood. Okay, it helps to move the blood flow. It can actually remove coagulation, which is a gelatinous of the blood. So that excessive heart chamber issue, the four chambers, where the heart is being affected by the arrhythmia. Okay, you can alter that just with adding cayenne pepper and hawthorn berries in your diet. Okay. The heart is the key muscle to the circulatory system. I'm going to repeat that throughout this. Okay. Rose is my fourth one. Now, who would have thought, right? But when you smell roses, did you know that it actually strengthens your heart? It does something to the heart. Like, why do you think they associate it to Valentine's Day being the heart flower? It's actually almost shaped like the petals in bloom. It's almost shaped like the heart. It's red like the heart, rich in color like the heart, like the blood, circulatory representation of the heart. And when you smell it, it actually is therapeutic to your heart, to your blood. So it's a strength. That's why it's affiliated or linked to strength. So blood supports the healthy heart on the physical and the energetic levels. Rose hips have they're filled with antioxidants, copious amounts of vitamin C, vitamin A rich, and they also strengthen the capillaries. And the capillaries, ladies, that's a good thing because I think of my face and I think of beauty. So the capillaries, all those little teeny ones that that carry the blood flow, where you see the crow's feet and it's not getting any oxygen, those are the capillaries, the places that it gets to, like lines and things like that. I had them right here, a lot more lines, but I increased my rose, walking through the garden, just walking through a garden. And they say, you've heard of this, the saying, take time to smell the roses. They say flowers, I say roses. Take time to smell them. It's therapeutic and it's strength to your core. Okay? So rose hips, and it's the secret to beauty. And it's the key to core strength. Okay, so that's a win-win. The last one is reishi. Reishi is a mushroom. They call it the king of all mushrooms. I call it the main man mushrooms. And I say main as in main, MAIN, and MANE. So the main, the number one, and main as in hair, because it strengthens all of that. It's like a 20-fold. It's like all of these herbs do like a 20. They go across the board in all the systems. So you can't lose when you're doing this. You're dealing with the heart, and you can't lose because you're dealing with everything else. It's just giving you so many more benefits. So it's great for heart, physical, and energetic levels. It's also an antioxidant potent vegetable, and it helps to normalize cardiac function. Who would have known, right? Who would have known? So, with all of that said, all of this being fun and going over, I'm going to re-ask the question: What do what? Let's see. My question: What is the most heart-linked fruit in the world? So, if you have that answer, either pop it in the chat or you can DM me, and you win. You win. Okay. If you're close, I'll work with that. I'll work with that. But people pop it in the chat. Just pop it in the chat for me, and just let me and tell me what your answer is. Okay, so we're gonna go, and I hope you enjoyed our casting today. We're gonna probably repost this and to Facebook because Facebook didn't get the chance to join us. But thank you so much for joining our live today and talking a heart to heart. So I heart you. Have a heart and healthy day, and be in alignment and in rhythm. This is Tamara Wells of Wellness, Herbs, Health, and Healing. Schedule your wellness health clarity call now, and we can talk about your heart. Have a good one, guys. Bye. Take care. Bye. Thanks for joining. Thank you. What